That is the music of Justin Ridgway, who, despite his promises, and I hope he's listening right now, still has yet to come on the show despite me extending a number of invites to come and tell us about the inspiration that led up to the creation of that song specifically for this show, which we appreciate very much. This is the propaganda.
I want to know the lyrics to it.
I would like to know the lyrics too. We're not going to judge him. We'll probably love him, and we hope one day to have him on here. But he's elusive. You know, he's hard to. He's got a lot of baby oil on him, I think.
Yeah, and when he does come on the show, you know, he plays his cards close to his vest, man.
Very close to his chest,
his vest, whatever.
His everything. It's all
everything.
Close,
well, you wear. Where do you wear a vest? What does a vest cover?
I think typically.
So what I'm saying is, if
your
you
chest.
said you're right, if you're close, if something was close to your vest,
depends if you're wearing it properly.
Yeah, you're assuming. Yeah. So
you're naked. You got nothing else around. I better put this vest on my crotch. That's like a rare situation.
No one ever does that unless it's the only thing. The
All I
cops
have
are at
is
the
this
door.
weighted vest.
The cops are at the door. You're
naked.
No.
I better dry off with this weighted vest and wrap it around my crotch.
That's it.
And I know it sounded like an excerpt from the Diddy trial. It wasn't. That was right off the top of the dome. We just did. We're such improvisers. Ian
can't stop doing it, even though I hate it.
We can't stop. We hate it. It's gay, but we can't stop doing it. And quick factoid before going into the subject of the day. You know Bonnie Blue, the OnlyFans girl who's like in this competition to have sex with the most people within a short time frame, or the oldest people, or the backdoor challenge. She said recently, in Austin, told us this on whatever this is last night, the show that I do with Austin and Sam, that Jimmy Savile's her father.
What?
That's what she said. She said, I don't know if that's another publicity stunt. Like she's saying, if I tell people Jimmy Savile's my father, maybe I'll get 100 more OnlyFans subscribers. Oh my God, I'll subscribe now. But that might explain some of the. Yeah, that's some daddy issues right there.
You need to start coming up with some angles, Brad. How come you can't come up with an angle like that? Get a bunch of money,
right?
Know? Start telling everyone that Jimmy Savile's your dad.
Jimmy Savile. He used to play baseball with me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's it. Started OnlyFans based on that.
What else did he do?
Exactly, and that's the questions people have to subscribe to find out the answers to.
Get into Brad's OnlyFans to find out what Jimmy Savile used to do to him.
And to see me smash squirrels with my feet.
Gross.
Doesn't work as well for guys, I think. Nevertheless, that was an interesting factoid. So the Trump-Elon thing obviously is what a lot of people are focused on today.
Heartbreaking.
A question that I always ask myself, and I say it on the show quite often too, is what will they do next to keep our attention because of how crazy things have gotten? And in this attention economy that we live in, where at any moment our attention can be distracted away from them and captured by something else that might influence us in a different direction. If they are to continue to be able to brainwash us as they do, they cannot let that happen. They cannot lose the war on our attention and thus access to our brains.
Yeah.
So they must win that fight.
I'm very suspicious of this fight.
Well, to that point, to win that fight for our brains, the most control over what we pay the most attention to, they have to be not just the most entertaining thing on television or on the web. They have to be the most entertaining thing in people's lives. And that is something that's kind of been a universal strategy for propagandists for 100 years, but now with the connectivity of screens and whatnot, definitely a lot easier to maintain that point of propaganda contact, our brains. That doesn't mean real fights among people don't happen. Of course they happen.
Could be a real fight.
It's like an understanding of. I had a reply when I posted something about this on Twitter a little earlier, and sometimes I get replies I'm not quite sure if somebody's mad at me or if they agree or disagree. But even if it's a real fight and the people have an understanding of what's necessary to sway things in their direction, that fight is going to be carried out publicly if they want to get public consent for something one way or another. And this was is a fight that is being carried out very publicly, and in my opinion, little too over the top, almost like it was on a content calendar or something.
Sure.
Maybe they're like actors and they actually stir up real emotions. They're like, I'm going to hate you on this day. It's going to be real. They're method actors. We don't know. Elon is so bad at acting, though, if you saw the SNL performance. I don't know if you saw that. The worst actual.
I didn't see it. No, I haven't watched SNL in
the
a
least
long,
funny,
long time.
Worst actor. This was a couple years ago. This is why I've always had a problem with him, is because of how bad he was on that episode of SNL and all of this weird stuff. I don't really know what the overall purpose of what they're doing is. If he's genuinely upset with him because he invested the money into supporting him, and the bill, the big beautiful bill, which I agree with what Elon's position has been about that bill personally. Okay. That it's just gonna do the opposite of what Doge that people got excited about claimed it was going to do. It's going to make the government bigger. It's going to make the debt worse, and it's going to put the economy just on the brink with all of the trillions of dollars in debt we continue to expand that. What does that even mean, that amount of money? And it has all these other things, these big bills they throw things in. And I think even Marjorie Taylor Greene was tweeting something in the bill that she didn't know was in it, and she voted for it. Because you can't read these bills in the amount of time you have to vote for them. So I'm always against these big bills. And when Elon said a bill can be big or beautiful, it can't be both, I actually agreed with that statement. Now, a lot of the things he's tweeting today, like the Epstein thing he threw, there's a lot of things being thrown in that it takes so much time and detail to explain the nuances of that it's it's hard to. It is interesting to see the left now ask for the Epstein files. That is interesting. Sure. It's funny. It's funny now. It's like, are we going to see videos of people, celebrities buying their Teslas back? You know, like.
Yeah, I mean, somebody had. I just think it's hilarious. Like, sell your Tesla to who? You're calling everyone a Nazi.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting the impact stuff like this has. I was telling you before the show that one of our friends that we did improv with for a long time, he's a great guy. He is progressive, but you can talk to him and he's reasonable. He texted me and he was like, "Oh, what do you think about Trump being in the Epstein files?" I'm like, "Wait, so you believe Elon today?" Yeah, yesterday he was a Nazi. Today you're like, Elon is the source of truth. Not to say Trump is. There's obviously some uncomfortable history with Trump and Epstein, which I've talked about all of this in many shows because I've talked to the lawyers of the victims. I've read all of the court documents that almost nobody's read that aren't even available through Google searches. I'm not going to go into all of that again. Maybe I will on another show. But it was interesting that the whole thing about Elon saying the reason the files aren't being released is because Trump's on them. That's not true, because the files are never going to be released regardless of who is on them, because those who, and say on them, people who are implicated in whatever evidence exists, they're powerful people.
Sure.
And powerful people are more valuable to those who hold this blackmail information outside of prison than they are inside of prison.
Right. So releasing this takes leverage away from everyone.
Absolutely.
Who's using it.
They will never. So it does, and they will never ever release them because of that reason. To give up that power.
Do you think we're going to see some freak off files?
Oh, I hope that one day we are blessed with such a thing.
Yeah, I hope we see Freak Off the movie. Freak Off
probably
1,
already
Freak
in
Off
the works.
2, Freak Off 3.
These freak off sessions apparently lasted like 80, 90, 100 hours at a time. I think that could be a really long movie, maybe a miniseries.
80, 90, 100 hours. That is a job. That is a...
Actually, the woman who testified today said that it became her job to do... She was a girlfriend after the first woman who testified, and she corroborated a lot of the freak off stuff. She said that she met Diddy. She fell in love with him, and then one day after they had she said this after they had sex for 12 or 24 hours. I'm like, wait. Excuse. How do you not say? Could you please explain that as the prosecutor? 12 to 24 hours. What? But no, nobody had a follow-up question for that. She said after that they were laying around. First of all, Diddy likes to have porn playing in the background while having sex, and after this marathon tantric sex session, Diddy pulled up some pornography. He just always pulling porn up on his computer. And they're watching porn together after the marathon 24-hour sex session. And Diddy starts saying, hey, you want to try some of this? So I guess there's some cucking going on. And she says, she was like, to please him. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And then she got up to go to the bathroom. And then when she came out from the bathroom, Diddy was already on the phone setting it up. And said, we're doing it tonight. And she was like, okay. Immediately. This is a guy, a man of action.
Wow.
Like, immediately did it.
This dude he really had an itch to scratch.
He's definitely got an itch to scratch. That's for sure. What was interesting to me is that they called him freak off sessions before. With this woman, what'd they call them? Diddy called them debauchery or hotel nights.
Yeah. Freak off is way better marketing.
It's
Sometimes
way better.
The first or two,
Yes.
You know how like your bands you really know?
Right.
You know, like that you like, they have different names that they begin with and they finally get the name they settle on and, you know.
Right. Hotel nights is not, it's very bad marketing. He lost
yeah.
his edge after the first one. Yeah. So that, and I don't know if there was any freak-off sessions with Elon, Trump, and Epstein, as Elon might say. The approach of blackmailing everybody. So I think that's something that's being revealed with the Diddy thing. Not that wasn't something that people knew, but every single person who testifies is like, yeah, no, Diddy said that if I didn't do this, he's gonna call my parents and release the tapes, because he just filmed and directed everything. And what was funny about this woman is at one point, because she said it became her job to do these hotel debauchery nights, formerly known as freak-off sessions, that she wasn't making money anymore. So he would give her money, but then at one point she said, what if I started an OnlyFans? My friend made $4 million. And Diddy was reluctant about that. And that probably undermined his whole approach to blackmail. If you're willing to put that P on there already, you can't blackmail someone for that.
Right,
you know?
right. True. You can't blackmail the willing.
Right. And Diddy's like, nah, and it's great because she also testified that she would be like, she would say that she didn't want to do hotel night. She didn't want to. She wanted to have sex with just Diddy, and Diddy would mock her for that. He would mock you. You don't want other guys to bang you while I watch. You stupid bitch.
Well, he just has that little Tootsie Roll.
A Tootsie Roll D. Yeah, Elon's my dad says LPR. Pacers or Thunder? I'm gonna go Thunder, Curtis. What do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
Thunder.
Well, anybody. Yeah. You've been watching the NBA probably. Huge NBA fan. No. So. Yeah, it's weird. Like the Epstein stuff comes up. There's a lot of similarities in the Diddy thing. At one point during the trial yesterday, Mia, who's using an anonymous name, which is weird because Diddy knows who she is, who are they protecting her from, and she had a weird connection with Mike Myers. She was Mike Myers' assistant. Mike Myers, by the way, who was on camera next to Yee during that infamous moment where he said George Bush doesn't like black people.
He hates black people.
Right. And then you connect that. You know who the other person on that camera was that they were talking to? It was who's the guy from Rush Hour? Chris, the comedian. Chris Tucker. Tucker, who was on Epstein's flight with Kevin Spacey when they went to Africa. That doesn't mean they're guilty of something, right? So there's a thing with the Epstein stuff where it's like anybody who's photoed with Epstein or name mentioned somewhere, it's like they're automatically a pedo.
Right.
that doesn't mean they're automatically a pedo.
Sure,
Obviously,
sure.
it means questions should be asked further, is what it means. Because what people like Epstein and Diddy do, and Jimmy Savile, is they use whatever power they have, probably backed by the CIA, honestly. I think the HR department for Diddy is his CIA handlers. They get close to powerful people with promises of money, or I don't know what Diddy's angle was. Diddy's just kind of a weird, small-faced guy. But Epstein would promise them donations and money and stuff that they wanted, and then you get your photo taken with them. You can actually walk up to a celebrity when they're doing handshakes, and you can do a photo with them, and you could be the biggest creepy pedophile in the world, and then you can be like, "Look, this person's with pedophile."
Yeah.
So it means questions should be asked, but the leaps in logic that the media and politicians depend on is that guilt by association. Question by association is what it should be. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't look good, Trump's associations with Epstein.
Do what Keanu does. Keanu always does the hand. You ever see him?
No, Keanu Reeves?
His hand is always visible. He always shows you where his hand is.
He is such
Every
like a
single-
great guy, he seems
Dude,
like.
he seems like, he seems awesome.
You ever see the
Total
videos
man
of
crush
him?
on him? What?
You man crush on him?
Totally have a man crush on him. Not like I want to boof him.
Right.
Just like, you want to hang out with him and be like, man,
you
he's
just
my
wanna edge
friend
him a
Keanu
little.
is so
Just
cool.
want to edge him a little.
Yeah, you just want to edge him a little.
Yeah.
Want to take a shower.
There's a video of him sitting on, I think it's somewhere in Hollywood. He's just hanging out. He's sitting down with a homeless guy on the side, just drinking whiskey with him, hanging out with him.
Yeah, he seems like he'd just be a cool dude to hang out with.
I think he had a lot of tragedy when he was younger. I think
That's
when
the
his
story.
sister died. Yeah. And I don't know. He seems like one of the good ones personally. And Mike Myers was also implicated. There's like some connections of him doing some spy work for the British, which is it's funny. It's crazy. And he should have stopped after that. But then you have Beyonce in Austin Powers. All these weird connections to like Jay-Z and Diddy. This kind of it's all compromised people who are in power. It's like you can't reach these levels of power unless someone somewhere has you compromised in some way.
I think that's true. I think you get power in these circles by proving your corruptibility.
Exactly. Like when you have people like Lindsey Graham, who's been in government for like his entire gay life.
Yeah.
What compromises that man? He feels like someone who he just desperately wants. Maybe they're like, maybe he's working to have the tapes released because he wants people to know how gay he is. And if he fulfills his service, that at his death, they will play all of the gay Lindsey Graham videos. What's the Keanu Reeves whoopee thing? I'm not familiar with that. Colleen Parker. I would like to know, though. So what are your initial thoughts on the Trump-Elon very dramatically presented fight going on?
My initial thoughts is I want to pretend it's not happening, Brad. This is very uncomfortable to watch them fight.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
I
mean, that's an interesting emotion, like you identify.
I'm pretending it's not happening is kind of what I'm doing. I hope they'll get over it. I hope tomorrow morning I wake up and they were like, just kidding.
So mom and dad are fighting, and the kids don't want a divorce to happen.
Yeah, I'm really, really shocked and upset, and I don't know where we go from here if Trump and Elon can't patch things up. I voted for, I didn't vote for Elon, and that's what I wanted.
Yes, so. And that's where a lot of the fight is going. I know Elon at one point said that Trump would not have won if it was not for Elon. I have since the very beginning said that I don't believe that at all.
Yeah,
I don't believe the assassination attempt. I don't believe Elon Musk. I don't believe any of that stuff is why Trump won. I believe that the Democrats had such a bad candidate that it was remarkably hilarious to think they even had a chance to win whatsoever. And this is, you went out on the streets to talk to people with me one time. I went out on the streets to talk to people at Trump, Kamala, all different rallies across multiple states. It was very clear to me, based on a pretty good sample size, that that Trump was going to win,
Well, look,
regardless.
you remember what I asked you about a while ago. I said, the test between Biden and Trump is if you're a little orphan, whose house would you want to wake up at on Christmas morning? Joe Biden's or Donald Trump's?
And that's a great question.
Okay.
Yes.
So now I'm asking the question, whose house
tough
do I want to wake up at? Elon Musk's?
Elon's babies don't sleep at his house. They sleep at his baby. He's got
Or
babies
Donald
all
Trump.
over the country.
I think I still want to wake up at Donald Trump's on Christmas morning. I think it's still way more fun. I think Elon would try way too hard to have like
Elon's
the
a
best
stringer.
Christmas ever, and Trump would just have the best Christmas ever.
And so that thinking of choosing one side or Elon or Trump, it's prevalent across social media. Which side are you on?
You have to pick, Brad.
And
Which
and
side are you on?
That's what makes me. That's where I ask the question: is why do they want people from a propaganda standpoint? I know some people get mad at me and say not everything is propaganda. Everything actually is propaganda, even if it's true. It's used in a propagandistic way. So my question is, why does whoever is specifically initiating this, whether it's Trump, Elon, or people advising them, why do they want people who supported both Trump and Elon to now be forced to choose one side or the other? That why do they want to break those two apart? Elon was not with Trump before. Elon said, like before when Trump initially ran, that Trump needs to step down. He's too old. And then he switched over when all the stuff happened.
Yeah.
And it's
He thought he could play Donald Trump, and he got fucked. That's what
you think
right?
happened? Wow.
That's what I think.
Wow.
happened, dude. Yeah.
You think
yeah.
he got- you
He
think
thought
he
he
did-
could play Trump, and he
Yeah.
got
They
fucked.
had a hotel night that he wasn't expecting,
Yeah.
and some baby oil. Separating all the stuff, as I said earlier, all the dramatic stuff about it. The big beautiful bill, I think, is something that Republicans and conservatives would have completely pushed back against aggressively had it been introduced by Biden or like Bill Clinton or Kamala. There's some things Trump is doing that people who support him very adamantly spoke out against when similar things were being floated by Democrats.
Sure.
And that it just a lot of that it just makes me. I don't know.
Are you regretting your vote for Donald Trump?
I didn't vote for anybody. I don't vote for the president.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't vote for the
All right.
president. I'm just trying. I try and like
I know.
understand. It's interesting. It's interesting to try and figure out what they're doing, even though you know a lot of it's theatrics. But the reality of the theatrics, it does impact the world.
Well,
Yeah.
It benefits them both to have a fight.
Of course it does.
It benefits them both.
100%.
So,
Controversy
no.
marketing. His stock has gone down a little bit. I don't. So what he does next? What's his next play? I think is going to be a little more revealing. He's
Must-
probably going to announce something. I would guess.
Time
I'm guessing
machine.
Elon
Fucking
announced
time
something.
machine.
He's going to announce a time machine.
Time machine. That's what's next, dude.
And we have a guest here. I'm springing this on you,
Me.
and the audience,
Oh.
you and the audience, to give us their personal insight. Maybe we'll pull up some of the Elon text here. Welcome back to the show,
Oh,
Mr. The 47th president of the United States, President Trump.
Brad, I gotta say
What was that? Are you in a
was
freak
Melania.
out
you got a dog
session?
now?
that was Melania.
So-
I gotta say that Elon thought he could play me, and he got fucked.
Mr. President, that's not the kind of language we have. Oh my God, I'm lost for words right now.
You know, that's just what happened. That's the long and short of it.
Is that what she said?
Oh, that's what everybody said.
Yeah,
She, they, them, everybody.
everybody said. Everybody's seen it.
Happy Pride Month, by the way.
Oh yes, happy Pride Month to you, and I know you'll be celebrating all 30 days.
Is this just a distraction? A lot of people think this is a distraction, Mr. President, from the big, beautiful bill, from the Palantir stuff, And what's the gay guy who is associated with Palantir? The New York Times said Epstein donated money to. Is there any truth to any of this?
I mean, come on, Brad. You know it yourself. You were the one that uncovered all the stuff that I did to help the prosecution against Epstein.
Is that right? Right. I know people are asking questions. A friend of ours, Kellen, I think you met Kellen before. He texted me today asking about what Elon said about you not releasing the Epstein files because you're in them, which I asked, I asked him, he didn't, he thought Elon was a Nazi yesterday. Today, he trusts him.
Now he loves him. All your little improv faggots love him now.
Mr. President, I don't know if you should be talking like that.
You know, I'm in a rare mood tonight, Brad, a rare mood.
Yeah.
I love
But
it.
things are good. I'm in a great mood. The White House is doing wonderful. We just had the cleaners come by. You know,
What
nice
does that mean? The killers?
Cleaners.
Oh, cleaners.
They came, the maids.
You guys had to clean up after a freak off session.
We're not having freak off sessions here, Brad.
Where are you guys having them?
Oh, Melania and I have our own freak off sessions.
Is that right? Yeah.
Just the two of you?
Mr. President?
Yes, just the two of us.
Okay.
It's not me and a hijab.
Yeah. You're not whacking off in a corner while Stephen Miller
I'm not
taps it?
saying, hey, come on, spread it all over me, and not a gay way.
Right. You don't want that crackers jizz all over your nipple.
There's only one Punisher I'd invite to the White House, and that's John Bernthal.
You'd let him give it to Melania.
I didn't say that, Brad.
You implied
you got to get your mind out of the gutter sometimes.
You're telling us about disgusting acts right now. My mind's not in the gutter. You came in with a gutter mind.
Oh, no. I came in with the mind of Elon getting fucked is what I came in with.
President, you're very aggressive.
His cars are stupid looking, too.
They are stupid looking.
You promoted one in front of the White House, Mr.
They
President.
are stupid looking. They don't look finished.
Hey,
they don't
if he
look
can
finished.
change his opinion on me,
Yeah.
and that short of time and say last week that he loves me more than any straight man could possibly love another man, and then this week turn around and do these disgusting acts, I can say that Cybertruck looks gay.
The Cybertruck does look very gay.
Mr. President, did Elon break up with you?
No, Brad, no.
That's all. I felt a hint of jealousy in your tone.
I just don't like that he's going around saying all these disparaging things,
You treated him really well.
I'm a human too,
Yeah.
Elon's not. I am.
Elon what is he? He's autistic?
No, he's not just autistic. He's either a cyborg or an alien. I haven't figured it out yet.
But do you see this right here, Mr. President, on screen? He shared earlier today, 5 hours ago, somebody's post about 1992 about how you partied with Jeffrey Epstein. Elon shared that with an emoji. Earlier, he said the Trump tariffs will cause recession in the second half of the year.
He's having a temper tantrum, Brad.
He's
mad because he's not the most powerful person in the world, and I am.
Right. A slow news morning changed fast this afternoon. It sure did. Is this a play where you guys are actually buddies and you're just trying to keep our attention?
Yeah, please tell us
No,
it is.
no. He's a cyborg.
Ian wants you two to get back together.
The guy can't tan. He can't tan. It's very, very.
You say he can't tan?
I'm very, President Trump, I'm very uncomfortable with all of this.
Mom
and
and Dad
I'm going
are
to choose
fighting.
you. I'm going to choose you over Elon.
Of course you are. You voted for me. You didn't vote for that autistic.
That's right.
Cyborg.
Cyborg.
Non-American. I'm sick of people calling him a patriot.
You're not American. Are you going to deport him?
Why don't you get ICE to arrest him and show everyone that he's a cyborg?
I think that we should deport him, to be honest with you.
If you send Kristi Noem to deport him, she'll come back pregnant.
Yeah, that's the problem. Maybe I'll send that big bull-looking guy.
You talking about Nancy Mace?
Yeah, Nancy Mace.
Yeah. I am in the position here where so I've always thought Elon was a little weird and creepy. I've been pretty consistent about that. And the least funny SNL host, and there's been a lot of unfunny ones to ever host a show.
He definitely bombed SNL.
That was the worst SNL show I've ever seen, and that's saying something. He actually bombed the coin at that moment too as well. But I find myself now agreeing with him about how you can't have a bill that's both big and beautiful because it's packed with pork and it's just going to increase our debt and put our country on a brink of an economic collapse. Mr. President, what are your thoughts?
He's just mad because we took away some stuff for electric cars and his benefits.
Wait a minute, but I just asked about the economy, Mr. President. All the debt this bill is going to increase.
Look, we know that the debt's going to fluctuate. We walked into the situation that the Democrats had put us in for over 8 years, Brad. You know, the deep state is long and deep and thick. And it's rooted deep down into there. You know,
why
George
did you
Bush was
emphasize
deep
those
state.
words?
Because that's what it is. It's
So he's-
deep.
Yeah. You feel a little randy today.
Oh, Randy, I mean, you know, I've been working out, if you know what I mean.
You've been oh, is that right? No, what exactly do you mean?
We've been banging a lot, Melania and I.
You and Stephen Miller?
Who?
Stephen Miller, you're the
No,
guy.
I haven't been banging Stephen Miller, Brad.
Is it true he punched Elon in the face?
I can't confirm or deny that.
Do you know who Stephen Miller is, or are you forgetting who that is, Mr. President?
Of course, I know who he is, Brad.
He's
but
the
you're
bald guy who went
Yeah.
to he went to Duke. He's very smart, but he like if you had to
Very smart. He's from House Slytherin.
yes, he's from House Slytherin.
House Slytherin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't that the Harry Potter?
I don't
Yeah,
watch
He's
Harry
a
Potter.
Slytherin.
Why don't you watch Harry Potter, Mr. President?
Yeah, you were so into pop culture.
Yeah, but I never got into Harry Potter. It's way beyond my time. You know?
I remember how you were so resistant to Game of Thrones, sir, and then you became a big fan.
Well, now you know Dan Fogler's going to be on Game of Thrones. So
Yeah, we heard
I
you
have a
big fan
reason
of
to
his.
watch it again.
Right. Wow, you're a big Dan Fogler fan.
Yeah, you know I love the Jews.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, years ago, I think 2020, he was on the show. Did you know that, Mr. President?
Of course I did, Brad.
You
I've
listened
been
to that
listening to
episode?
you for a long time.
Yeah, you listen to that. You listen to the episode. You see here, Elon says, in light of the president's statement about cancellation of Elon's government contract, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. What is that? Does that upset you?
No, he's just like I said, he's being a big baby and he's having a hissy fit.
Is there a chance you guys are gonna,
Look,
get
I'm
back
all
together?
about forgiveness. Look at all these people that I have working for me that came out and said they hated me. My vice
very
president called
true.
me a Nazi at one point. in
Yeah,
time.
your vice president did. You're right.
You know, he's going to come around. Elon's going to come around. He'll come around.
Is this how you handle fights with Melania? You just give her some space.
As a matter of fact, Ian, that's exactly right. I'm very mature. Unlike Elon Musk,
Yeah.
who's just a big crying baby with Asperger's.
Yeah, you are going at him, Mr. President. You seem like he really struck a nerve.
You know, I don't like to be double-crossed, Brad. If you've read any of my books, you'd know this.
I have read your books, Mr. President. I read the Art of
Think
the
big.
Deal.
Think big is the one I'm talking
That's
about.
a
I
good
haven't
one.
read Think
That's
Big.
a good one. That's what I'm doing right now.
I'm trying to find
Chapter 6, I believe, is entitled Revenge.
Look, so, Mr. Is that what it's called? Entitled Revenge?
No, it's not called Entitled Revenge. The title of the chapter is Revenge.
Oh, it's Revenge. Oh, I see. It's not entitled like you're entitled to revenge. It's just titled Revenge.
Sometimes you are.
Oh,
Sometimes maybe.
I'm always entitled to revenge. Everyone is, really, if you think about it.
Well, Mr. President, I don't know if that's a standard of justice. That it seems like you're promoting a vigilante nation.
I mean, you know, sometimes, Brad, the law fails us. Why do you think I took Fauci's Secret Service away?
So the Green Arrow could go after him.
That's right. So Oliver Queen could go get his revenge for his mother.
Okay. Look, you see here, not even is Elon tweeted. Not even those in Congress had to, who had to vote on the big ugly spending bill, had time to read it. And he retweets Thomas Massey, who you don't like Thomas Massey because Massey is disagreeable to you quite often. What do you think about them voting on a bill they did not have time to read?
I mean, first off, they read the bill. Secondly, how often have they read the bills in the past, aside from bills that I've put in front of them?
Wait, they never, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene said after she voted for it, she tweeted a portion of it. I can't remember what she said. She didn't read that. She admitted not to reading it.
Mr. President, why don't you produce a TV show where you have a series of very attractive women come out taking turns to read the bill to the American public?
A marathon. Yeah, you just bring a bunch of them. It'd be like Miss America, but they're reading legislation. That's a great idea, Ian.
Thank you.
I mean, I think that's a wonderful idea, Ian. But, it'd take an independent production company to do a thing like that.
Yeah, but
your hands are tied?
I can't do that now as president.
Well, but you can. You're signing a lot of executive orders. You're exercising a lot of power. You can't do this. You don't want the bills read, Mr. President.
Look, of course I want the bills read, Brad.
But
what is that? What does me signing executive orders have to do with wanting the bills read?
We'll sign an executive order that there's a show that is produced to read the bill to the American public. Have just a cavalcade of cavalcade of gorgeous people, women, men. You can throw some guys
trans
there too.
in there?
We do have 50% women in this country.
Big dick trans. A freak off cade.
Just a cavalcade, a slew of attractive people just reading this bill in different situations, sometimes in a hot tub, sometimes
Diddy
running
can
down
host
the
it.
beach shirtless.
Them in a hot tub is great. You guys could just do that yourselves with Twitch.
You want us to go and
Girls on hot tubs is very popular.
Brad's already on 18 platforms right now. Are you on Twitch right now?
I'm not right now. I'm on Kick. Do you watch Twitch, Mr. President?
Look, you got to be well versed to be the president of the United States.
This is, I think you watch Twitch because Elon might be gaming or having somebody paid to game under his fake name. I think you're obsessed with Elon.
Yeah, here's a scoop, too. He's not as good of a gamer as he claims.
You're just revealing all of this shit, Mr. President.
Did you see him play video games in the White House?
He didn't design the Tesla cars. He had people do it for him.
Who did he have do it for him?
His designers, his engineers.
The Jews?
Engineers.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I misheard you. You said the Jews. His engineers. Dana has a question. She wants to know how many Sharpies you use per day. I don't know if that means writing or up the backside. Mr. President.
Brad, I'm not putting Sharpies up my backside. And I'll thank you not to say things like that on the air. There's enough fake news going on around about me.
I'm just asking the question to you directly.
But it's 1,500 Sharpies a day.
Wow.
That's a lot of executive orders. Is it
Sharpies.
one executive order or?
No, not one executive order, Brad. Don't be ridiculous.
No, I mean per Sharpie.
Oh, yeah. I give them away, after I use them.
You sign the Sharpies with other Sharpies, and then you give those Sharpies away. And then you give the Sharpie, you sign the Sharpie away.
Yeah, the signing Sharpie.
The signing Sharpie.
I'm not going around auto signing it,
The auto pen. You have used auto pen. Some people, they pointed out your criticism of Biden's auto pen. You've also used the auto pen.
I mean, I have before. Yeah. Have you not used an auto pen before?
I don't have an auto pen.
Come on.
I don't know what it. I don't have a skiff either, Mr. President. Can you believe that?
Can I believe what? That you don't have
I don't have a skiff.
Yeah, you're not the president.
Right. Shaming people would be the best revenge, says Clean Parker.
Well, Elon's albino faggot.
Yeah, you're dropping the faggots today, Mr. President. During Pride Month.
Is that why you're doing it?
There's no better time to do it than to show my pride that way. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with him being that way.
So you appreciate it. Are you familiar with Jacob Faggot, Mr. President? The 18th century?
Jacob Faggot. It was really hard for him because, he couldn't use his name for anything.
He's dead now. If he were,
Everybody would be like, look at that faggot over there.
Right. Well, back then it wasn't a taboo to say it.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Did it just stand for a bundle of sticks back then?
Yeah, back then the word for gay sex was Trump.
Oh, really?
That's what I read.
Hey, you see that dude trumped that other guy last night?
He trumped his ass.
Trumped him right
Wow,
in his
Ian,
butthole.
I'm really surprised that you're jumping in on
I
that.
didn't say. No, sir. I don't agree with it. I think it's disgusting.
Just reporting the facts.
I'm just reporting the facts. I think it's disgusting, and I will never say it again.
I don't think that those are facts whatsoever.
They are.
We'll have to ask Grok. I think Grok might be biased against you moving forward.
Words change, Mr. President. Words evolve.
Just like
before
genders.
retarded,
Yeah.
it was imbecile. Before it was imbecile,
Was
it was
Trump.
moron.
Oh,
What
yeah,
about
yeah.
maroon?
Maroon.
Before
That's
maroon,
what
it was
Elon
brown.
is. He's such a maroon.
Yeah.
What is that? What's the subtext of
You know,
the
he
definition
shouldn't wear
there?
black so much either. It makes him look a lot grayer and paler.
You can't going after him, dude. You're
For somebody
really
that's
going
from
after him.
South Africa, you'd think he'd have a much better tan like I do.
Do you not take any responsibility for the riff you guys have had? It's all on him.
It's all on him.
What about his? Yeah, of course. What about his child that he would have in the? Are you guys still friends? Him and his 5-year-old?
I've got nothing against his 19 children.
Yeah, but
You know, I just hope they don't wind up with Asperger's too.
right.
You know, he thinks he's Asperger's superior or something like that. Have you heard about
Makes
this?
him smart. Yeah, no, very you know.
You
They
disagree?
think-
You think
they-
it's a weak
these-
link?
These Asperger tards think that they're Homo superior to Homo
Did-
sapiens.
Did you say Asperger tards?
Yeah,
I believe they're called neurodivergent, sir.
Yes. that is correct.
neurodivergent, Homo tards, whatever.
Maybe you should round them up.
We're not rounding anybody up, Brad, except for the Democrats.
Right. So Nate says, speaking of Game of Thrones, the Onion Knight is sailing to Gaza. Who's the Onion Knight? Is that Greta Thunberg? Is that
Oh,
who-
the
with
Onion
the
Knight
Onion Knight.
in Game of Thrones was.
What's the? Oh, sorry, I know who that is. Yeah.
It was the smuggler,
Mm.
Right,
and
they're smuggling Greta Thunberg
he had lost his fingers.
up his
and-
ass.
He was yes, up his ass, Brad. He worked with that one king, the one that the one with the fire religion lady.
The
Star,
the
not
the
Star,
Darnarius?
Yeah.
No. The witch, the red witch.
Oh, the Red Witch. Yes. Jen Psaki.
Yeah, Jen Psaki, the red witch. No. She's a lot hotter than Jen Psaki is.
Right.
Except for when she takes off her necklace. Have you seen her then? She's hideous.
Oh
When
yeah,
the
she's
Red
gross.
Witch,
She
she
takes
gets
off her
older,
necklace.
she
She gets really
ages.
old.
Yeah, she becomes a really old lady.
What happens when you take your necklace off?
I don't wear necklaces, Brad.
It was a necktie.
Your necktie. What happens?
Yeah.
My head just rolls right off of my body.
Wow. Well, so you're really laying it. You need to lay it all out there because Elon, anything he knows, he's going to try to expose. Although you could argue that he was so drugged up on Adderall and ketamine and everything else that he didn't know what was going on. Is it true that he left some rooms at the White House, him and his Doge people, full of drugs and, maybe baby oil? I'm not sure.
Baby oil.
I don't know.
For freak offs.
Yeah, for
sir.
freak off sessions.
Look, nobody's doing freak offs in the White House, Brad.
So you're
Not
saying
anymore.
that
It's not the Clinton administration.
not anymore, right? So you're saying that it's not true that he left the rooms just littered with trash and drugs.
Oh, I mean, he's like those Occupy Wall Street people. He's very entitled. He doesn't pick up after himself. He thinks everybody will just pick up for him.
So that's a very
Elon.
specific reference there. The
Little baby Elon just crying his way through the Oval Office.
you tie
stomping
that to the
around.
Occupy Wall Street people. That's a very interesting connection.
Because they left all that trash behind them. The Tea Party came and they cleaned up after themselves like good, responsible
Right.
people.
Yeah,
We love those Tea Parties.
Yeah.
the Tea Party guys.
Yeah, we love that Liberty Bread.
You'll let them freak off.
What is it with you? You're like obsessed with this freaking off.
It's in
Are
the
you
news a
working
lot,
off?
sir. It's in the
I'm
news.
not-
a lot,
I'm not
sir.
freaking off.
It's a lot of
How
powerful
do we-
people. People have been in
Brad.
freak
I mean,
offs.
you got a camera. You got
Are you kind of cut out there, Mr.
you
President?
got a lot of pull. You know.
You think I should be freaking off?
I don't know. I'm asking if I'm assuming that you could because of your directing ability.
Look, there's only one woman who could make me freak off. Do you know what
I
her
don't
name
want to
Brad.
is,
hear
Mr.
it, Brad.
President?
I don't want
Brad,
to hear it.
It's
Using
Melania.
Using just your phone right now, how long would it take you to get a freak off together?
Well, if I have the confidence in myself as Diddy does, 15 minutes I could get a freak off session together.
15
In Italy,
minutes?
we could be in Italy in 15 minutes with a freak off session ready. Did you know that, Mr. President? Diddy would pull porn up in front of his girlfriend, and he'd be like, "Hey, you want?" This is after they had sex for 24 hours, according to the court. And he'd say, "Hey, would you want to try this?" And she just would say yes, thinking she had to say yes to everything. And then she'd go to the bathroom, and then she'd come out, and Diddy would be on the phone with the freak off organizers, and then he'd hang up and say, "All right, we're freaking off tonight in Paris." I mean, are you that kind of man of action?
Not with freak offs, Brad, but I mean, you've seen my action in general.
Maybe is that why you would consider pardoning Diddy is his ability to get stuff done, evidenced by how he can so quickly organize a freak off.
I mean, if we could weaponize them for the United States, maybe, but I think we're past
Weaponized
that.
freak offs, yeah, they are weaponized.
I think we're well beyond that. What's well beyond what I don't understand is how you get to the place that Diddy got mentally.
You never
It's
had
very
a kink?
sad. It's very sad when you think about it. That he must have that big of a hole of the loss of love that he feels like he's got to do things like that. in
He's a
order to,
homosexual, I think.
well, just not normal homosexuals do that, Brad.
Yeah, you know a lot about normal homosexuals.
Yeah, you are the go-to on that.
Look, we all know that everybody's got a gay friend here or there, and
So
there's
this is,
nothing
you're
wrong
okay
with
with normal Pride Month.
I'm okay with homosexuals in the sense that
Never a president's been more okay with it.
they're just people, like you and I.
True,
Everybody's
true.
just a person.
I don't have a
except
problem
for
with
Elon,
homosexuals.
except for Elon, who is a cyborg alien that is then also an albino Asperger.
Wow. Do you wish they would have taken him out in that apartheid over there in was it South Africa where he's from?
I'm not going to say that, Brad. I don't want to say words I can't take back.
You called him a faggot earlier.
Well, I can take that back.
Yeah.
I can say, look, I don't really think you're a faggot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I see your point.
I'm having a hard time convincing or believing that this was not a little bit. Maybe you guys are fighting. Maybe like we're going to give a nod to each other and have a public fight. Why not have this discussion behind closed doors?
Look, Brad, he's the one who's not having it behind closed doors. He's the one who went to his little social media device and decided to air a bunch of things through his little fingers, tapping on his little keyboard.
But I heard he's the one a couple times there, and I feel like that love is what is really causing your anger.
Yeah. Do you think he is the one?
He'll never be president.
But he is the one. Is he the one?
No, he's not the one. But Ian, I'm ashamed of you tonight.
He's just asking questions, Mr. President.
Questions. I am a journalist.
Usually I get on here and
Yes,
Ian,
we are both certified journalists.
You're the one who's one I can get along with fine. Brad,
You want blind defense.
He's
going to call you a faggot, Ian.
Mr. President, I'm going to side with you. I just wish you guys I wish you'd work it out. That's all. And if he's the one.
Yeah, fuck it out, Mr. President.
I didn't say that. See, that Brad goes that far. I didn't say that. But.
Look, all I'm saying is, it's like that moment. You can relate to this, Brad. It's like that moment in the Avengers movie where Thanos has Loki by the neck and he's squeezing his eyeballs out.
Yeah, I can.
And he says, "You'll never be a god." Which Elon he'll never be a president.
So you're Thanos?
No,
Yeah.
I'm Loki in this situation.
Oh, so he's trying to choke
He's
you out.
squeezing you.
But he kills Loki.
Well, does he? There's that whole multiverse thing. But anyway, what I'm saying is he won't ever know what it's like to be a president. He'll never have that. Ever. In his entire life.
Being
ever.
a president's kind of like being a god, right?
He doesn't have American privilege.
Yeah, really have some deportation vibes coming from you.
I don't see anything wrong with just booting his ass back to South Africa.
Hey, Mr. President, it's not your fault.
I know it's not my fault.
It's not your fault.
I know it's not my fault. Don't start
It's not
Goodwill Hunting me.
your fault.
It was a terrible movie.
You don't like Goodwill Hunting?
Matt Damon's a douchebag.
Everybody likes Goodwill Hunting, sir.
I don't like Goodwill Hunting. It's boring. It's not funny.
It's not a comedy.
It's supposed to be a light humor.
Yeah, that's an interesting take.
I don't believe they wrote that script, sir.
I don't either.
It was the CIA probably wrote it.
You're telling me that that Matt Damon is, come on.
Yeah,
He's
I
too
don't believe
short
they
to
wrote the
write.
script.
Yeah,
I believe that was a whole Hollywood marketing ploy.
right. And, and,
I
and
can
if you-
believe that Ben Affleck did it. He played
No.
Batman.
right, you like him because he
Yeah.
played Batman, but he also married Jennifer Lopez, who was dated Diddy. He tied her to like a telephone pole, which I don't know why she's not on the stand, as we talked about earlier. So you trust his
J-Lo.
judgment. Yeah. Uncle Buck, I don't like either. I'd watch Uncle Buck. I love Uncle Buck.
I
Clean
love
Parker.
Uncle Buck.
Love John Candy.
Wait, who doesn't like Uncle Buck?
Everybody
no, Clean
loves it,
Parker
sir.
says I'd watch Uncle Buck all day instead of Goodwill.
Oh,
Hunting."
yeah, I totally agree. Especially
Yeah.
the part where he's making those giant pancakes. I love that part.
Those are good pancakes. Melania ever flip those?
No, because we have people that make our food for us.
Yeah. If Melania got disfigured somehow, would you still stay married to her? And
I might
support
give
her?
you your shot then, Brad.
Is that right? Well,
Yeah, you
But
But
traded
you're
up.
pushing it. You're pushing it, Brad. You're
You
just
did
pushing
trade
it.
up. You did trade up in your divorce. You traded up.
all right.
You're
I just
pushing-
want. I'm pushing it. I'm just asking hypotheticals before the mainstream media is going to ask, so that you're prepared to answer.
No
them,
one in the
'cause-
mainstream media is going to ask me to take a run at my wife, Brad. You're the only one.
Well, because they're all homosexual.
But they might not do that, but they might ask something else that might get you off your balance.
yeah,
And so all Brad is trying to do is, keep you sharp, sir.
just throwing you jabs like I'm your Mickey and you're Rocky, Mr.
Just
President.
a journalist. He's just a friendly
A
journalist.
friendly journalist trying to take the adversary position more aggressively than your adversaries will. And you're angry at me about that. Almost as angry, but not as much as you are at Elon Musk. And I'm just trying to say to you, between friends here, you will find another best friend.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that, Brad.
Yeah. God's gifts spring eternal.
Right. And
So
we know you're going to be
You will.
mourning for a few weeks, probably very upset.
You guys want to take over Doge?
sure.
Ian?
I
Yeah,
mean,
I would love to.
I
What's-
would love to.
Yeah.
That sounds like it pays a lot more than my job.
Yeah.
I don't know if it pays, honestly.
Jeez, it's always something like this. Every
free?
I think it's volunteer work.
It's
you know, like-
volunteer work?
it's like if you were taking classes at an improv school or something.
Jeez, then now I don't really know if I have time.
What an
sir.
insult to us, you faggot president.
Yeah, you're retarded.
Wow.
What are your taxes
That
going
was
down,
the
Mr.
zinger.
President?
That was the zinger.
What word spell wants to know if their taxes are going down, or did you not read the little bill?
It's a big bill. It's a big, beautiful bill.
Well, some people call it the little bill.
If it was so little, then people could have read it, Brad.
So is that right? That's your answer to that question? All right, Mr. President. I think we got to get out of here. Ian, thanks for hanging out and
Thanks. It was a
talking
blast,
about
man.
this. And
Yeah.
Hey, Ian, you want to get on some Helldivers?
Yeah,
You're-
Mr. President and I have been playing video games together.
really,
Yeah. Yeah, I think I will play a little bit of Helldivers tonight, sir.
so
Yeah,
you're
Brad, you're
replacing
welcome to join us.
Elon with
You're welcome
Ian.
to join us, Brad.
We can't Ian, you were you played video games. This is a revelation here.
Ian,
You guys were.
Elon.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll
you know,
join. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
join.
Ian's gonna be the
He
next.
builds
Elon.
rockets. I grew up in Florida near rockets.
Near rockets, yeah. Just the sight of you, Ian, gives Mr. President a little rocket.
Yeah.
You
Come
know,
on. Why do you have to go there?
Yeah,
I
why
see
do you
what
have to go there,
Why do you
Brad?
have to go there, Brad?
just give me a
What-
shot. Just give me a shot at Melania.
Brad, you know, I like you because you've got chutzpah, as the kids would say, but you know, you gotta clean up your act a little bit.
I know you don't like it dirty.
You know,
You don't
I
like it.
apologize to all your viewers for my
I know.
venting.
Yeah,
You
and,
always-
I mean, Brad, could you really see yourself out at a fancy restaurant with Melania?
yeah, Brad, could you really see yourself
Wearing that baseball cap backwards.
You're
and
Yeah,
fucking
sure.
A right.
those
I could, Ian.
headphones.
Your
Every
shirt-
night of the
your-
week
your
I could.
Your sleeveless.
I'll have my
basketball
sleeveless
jersey.
shirts on and my dirty white gym shorts, and I'll be like, "Would you like some more white wine, baby?"
You know, she's really not into that, Brad. She's into upscale president types.
Maybe she hasn't gone a little redneck, Mr. President. She like go down south a little.
Oh, hey, what do you think of Jelly Roll?
All right, I think we can end the show right there, guys. Thanks for
Yeah.
listening. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining us,
Super
joining
fun.
us, Mr. President. We'll
I'm
hopefully
serious.
he'll come back.
What do you think of Jelly Roll?
I think he's weird, and I don't know his music very well. And when I see him, I say, "Who is this guy, and why is he famous?"
Yeah, he's 450 pounds.
Didn't he lose a bunch of weight like a
Oh,
Ozempic?
he's not. He didn't lose like Lizzo weight or anything. If he lost weight, he still looks like a blimp.
Right, and he's white, a white guy. Also, Clean Parker tells me to flash my shoulders, and Melania
Oh,
will
yeah.
melt. So maybe, yeah.
She is in the shoulders.
Yeah. You got huge shoulders, right?
Yeah, mine are as broad as a.
I would love to see.
Automobile.
I would love to see you start doing press conferences in like a tank top or wife beater, Mr.
Yeah.
President.
You and RFK.
Yeah, dude, he's ripped.
Yeah, me and
Man.
RFK, we've been working out together.
Right.
Nice.
You guys ever swap wives?
Oh, it's not a bad idea, Brad.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out and comment in the chats. Propagandafight.com at Freedom Act Radio on X. Ian Reginald, the actor, and Mr. President Action Show Studios. Check him out, and we'll be back next week. You guys have a fantastic rest of y'all's freak off session. See y'all later.